Hi, my name is Catherine, and welcome to Sparrow Podcast. Today in the studio with me is Pierre Wurth, who is achieving true progress in the fitness area. And he's an online coach, and more than that, he's also one of my best friends. Flying from Luxembourg directly to Dubai to film with me today. Hi, Pierre. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Hi, Katrine. Thank you for the invitation. It's quite a trip to come down here.
Yes, we had some attempts already to film this podcast,
Yeah.
and it's been an adventure.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know, like some bigger forces didn't want us to meet down here.
But we still made it, and here we are.
Here we are, yeah. But I think I stopped counting at, I don't know, how many troubles did we have? Like 10 or something, like with missing the flight because my passport was valid but not accepted. And then a delayed flight and people passing out, multiple people passing out on the plane.
Oh my
The
God.
plane wanted to like have an emergency landing, but we were over Iraq, so we weren't allowed
Okay.
to have an emergency landing. And then we landed, but because of the flooding that happened in Dubai, like I think 2 days ago, the airport was completely saturated. Like we waited for 45 minutes in the plane before being able to go down. And then we waited for, I don't know, almost 2 hours for the luggage. And then we had to drive back like through Dubai where all the roads were closed or flooded and cars were like just abandoned on the streets. It was quite surreal, I have to
Yes.
say. And then my hotel room was flooded and oh my God, I don't know. I stopped counting. But we made it. We're here.
But it's always about being adaptable, and we will come back to this topic later
Absolutely.
in our discussion.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, first of all, I would like to ask you, what does true progress mean for you?
Oh, so, I mean, the name, I picked that name. I was actually at home sitting on my couch, kind of like this.
Okay.
And I was like just brainstorming and thinking like, what would describe me? What would describe like the philosophy that I pursue in life? What would describe the philosophy that I try to, I don't know, to bring to my athletes? And actually, I started to notice that everything that I'm doing, I try to just to progress, to get better day by day. Like I think the Japanese, I think they call it kaizen. Like it's just that philosophy of just trying to improve every day, like in every area of life, in every aspect. And I try to, when a person comes to me, like and wants me to coach that person, I try to really assess like where we're at. This is point A. Where do you want to go? It's point B, and we're gonna make everything to make you progress from there. So I'm not just
Okay.
selling some. I'm not just selling some special effects. You know, like oh, you're with me for 6 months, and I'm gonna make sure that you're tired and that you're sore, and after 6 months you're gonna be like, hey, the adventure was great. No, I want you to be much further than you were when you started, and progress also applies to the fact that I try to go with the modern flow of science. So I try to be progressive in the way that I coach people. I try to take my distance from the old school stuff that has always been done just because it has always been done, but there was never any concrete scientific fundaments to it. Yeah, and I mean, and it just describes me as a person. So I always try to be like from day to day to be better than yesterday, like literally day to day. Like,
That's
so
very important.
exactly. So like I always say like if in a year from now you cannot look back and think for yourself like oh wow I made like some huge improvements in different areas, then you literally wasted time. Like and that means in every area that it's not related to sports in any way. I mean it's just like your knowledge, your emotional intelligence, very important, your relationship with people, your health, your like literally everything. So I thought like progress describes me as a person and what I provide as a service like the best. And true just means like true progress. Like we're gonna make it happen, you know, like we're
I
not
really
just
like
gonna
it.
talk about it, like we're just gonna do the work as well.
Okay, I really like that.
Yeah, I mean, you know me now since how long?
Too long.
I can leave if you want to. Like Dubai is nice. I don't need to stay here. And downs, and you've also followed me through like the whole process of building true progress and where I am today. So I think like you're kind of a witness of everything that I'm telling you here. It's not
Yes,
just like blah blah. Like
and also a fan, I have to say.
Thank you. Like I'm a big believer. Like to make it very simple, there is this quote that they say, if you talk the talk, then make sure that you walk the walk. And I'm a big believer in this. Like just be true to the game, progress, and then just try to elevate the people around, elevate yourself and elevate the people around you.
Okay. So let's talk about a bit about what are you actually doing as an online coach?
People reach out to me with different problems.
Okay.
Or they reach out to me with stuff that they believe is a problem, but already while talking to them, I'm like, all right, the problem is not what you think the problem is. Or maybe the problem is just like your perspective towards the problem, you know. So I'm gonna give you like a typical example. I have a female, she's writing me like, hey, I need to lose 5 kilograms. And most of the time, like I just look at her Instagram, and in my head, I'm like, no, you need to gain 7, you know, like you need to gain 7 kilograms in muscle mass, because what you're thinking is like you need to get thinner and thinner and thinner while you're actually, how they call it in the fitness industry, like you're skinny fat, which means that you're skinny and the little bit of mass that you have is fat mass. It's not muscle mass.
Okay.
So actually your body's shape is pure fat, even though it's little because you're slim, but it's still fat. It's not muscle. So actually, if you would gain, I said 7, it's an arbitrary number,
Yes.
you know? But if you would gain muscle and in the process, like drop off some fat and do like a recomposition, then you would probably get the look that you are actually trying to achieve when you tell me that you want to lose 5 kilograms. So the problem is not the problem. The problem is your perspective towards the problem. Your perspective towards the problem.
Okay.
So like people contact me, and then I immediately try to have like a video chat with them, just like to see like, do we click? Like, do we get along? Am I the right person for the service? Because I also refuse many people, and I refuse them not because I'm mean, but because I don't want to sell something to somebody if I'm not sure. Not if I'm not sure about the result, because I cannot guarantee the result, but if I'm not sure that I have the ability to try to achieve that result. And then to see if like the person's perspective is the same than mine and the work ethic as well. So we have a chat, and if everything is okay, like I send them like a form, a questionnaire. They send it back, so I have like you know, parameters like their age, weight, goals, etc., etc. And then from there, I try to create a plan adapted to them, to their lifestyles, to their food intolerances, to their preferences, to their jobs. You know, like there are people who just they cannot eat. They don't have a pause. They don't have a lunch break. So I try to adapt around that. Then I try to create like a training program based as much as possible on my philosophies, which is, it's too much like to just go in details, but like based on what I think would be reasonable to achieve that goal. And then we start from there, and then we work for a duration of at least 6 months. And why 6 months? Just because like I don't even want to sell the idea that you can like make true progress, you know, like in a short amount of time. Like I'm not gonna sell you like a 10 weeks ready for the beach program.
Okay.
I can, if someone comes to me like, yes, of course, I know all the tricks to make your body change in a matter of 10 weeks in order to look a certain way for the beach. But it's not sustainable, it's not healthy, and it's just not what I'm standing for. So I don't want anybody to come to me to make some type of magic with them, which is not going to change their perspective towards their health, towards food, towards habits, because it's bad habits most of the time that brought these people out of shape. Out of shape can be many different things. Can be too skinny, can be obese, can be like just having like very poor understanding of nutrition, of what correct nutrition is. And that didn't happen over 10 weeks. All right. So we're not going to fix it in a matter of 10 weeks.
Okay.
And I want the person to adhere.
Okay.
And yeah, and then from there, like the most important part, and that is, it's not me who says it, that has been proven time and again in studies, and that's a huge debate point. But the most important part is the check-in. So every Sunday, these people check in with me. So it's an accountability check. They send me pictures of their shape, like flexed and unflexed, like in bikini, underwear, whatever. And then I look, did the body change? Did the body adapt to what I've written down?
Okay.
And then they also send me their parameters, their weight, their activity, their steps, their digestion, how they feel. Like, I mean, if they feel miserable and their digestion is miserable, like I'm not going to keep on giving them that program. Just like I told you.
You will adapt it.
Exactly. I want it to be sustainable. And I'm going to tell them, like, listen, I'm sorry. It may take 1 more month, 2 more months. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I am not going to destroy your health, your gut health, your whatever health, your mental health, just in order for you to look good for the beach for 1 week where you're going to have like 5 margaritas a day and you're going to ruin your shape again. That's just not me. And already by being that strict in the way that I'm selecting my people and that I'm advertising my methods, that filters out already many people.
Okay.
Because Instagram and the modern fitness world like has led us to believe that there are quick fixes everywhere.
Definitely.
There are like for certain problems, it's not possible. So that is the majority of the job that I'm doing, and especially like that's what's taking the most time is these check-ins, because people have a problem. All right, these people have a problem, and they come to me and they want their problem to become my problem. And they're gonna pay me, they hire me. So at that moment, their problem becomes my problem. I try to fix that problem. So I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna give them solutions. I'm gonna write them. I don't want to say that I motivate these people because I'm not a motivational coach. Like I'm a big believer in accountability. I'm a big believer in like get your shit together and you
Get
know your
things
job.
done.
Yeah, I'm not your babysitter.
Yes.
You know, of course I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna have some nice words. Everybody can have like a phase where the person doesn't feel okay, but I'm gonna sit there every Sunday with 10, 15, 20, sometimes 25 athletes of mine. Checking their results and making sure that we are on track.
Okay.
And these accountability checks are like the most important part. Like because that has been proven in certain studies, which have not been done on 5 or 10 people, but like thousands of people, that the reason why people get out of shape after having been in shape, it's mostly not the fault of the diet or whatever. It's just because they stop tracking their activity, tracking their food, being aware of what they're doing, and they just fall back in their old habits. So they stop being accountable. And well, I digress. I could go much further, but I'm gonna say leave it there.
So I think when people hire a coach, they also expect sometimes that there is some magic happening for their shape. So in your opinion, how much does the work of the coach count, and how much does the work of the athlete count in achieving the goal?
Oh my God.
Oh no. Please censor.
Like having seen programs from coaches from all over the world, like I've had athletes sending me programs. I have found online programs from like the top coaches. Like they all use the same method. All right.
Okay.
So sometimes when I'm working with an athlete, like basically I'm using the same method than top Olympian coach XYZ would be using. So what does that tell me about the result of the person? Like, of course, like there are genetics, there are PEDs involved, like with certain athletes, but like overall, what is the work ethic of the person? It's just like, if I tell you to do XYZ in your plan, then please do XYZ and don't do XYZ, but like
ABC.
Yeah, and then add like 10% here and leave 10% aside there. It's this consistency thing. Like it's like the athlete has to do the biggest part of the job, and this is also where many people, I don't want to say they get confused, but they don't see the value in a coach. It's like I've had people telling me like, yeah, but what you're doing is like you're writing down a program that I could also download on the internet. And yeah, you're correct. Like you can find very good programs for free on the internet. Go ahead and do it, you know? Why is the result not there? Well, because you're hiring me to, number one, explain you what you're doing in order for you to understand what you're doing, in order to be able to adhere to it and not just follow blindly a number.
And also to personalize the program.
Also to personalize the program, yeah. And then also you're hiring me because through my eye and through my knowledge and experience, like, how should I say? Many people, when things, they don't function how they wish, then they want something to change and they want to change something. And the coach's job is sometimes to be like, no, we're not going to change anything. You're going to keep going, because sometimes you plateau for no reason. And the only thing that you need to change is be more patient and not make another change. And that sometimes is also the value of a coach. Plus that accountability part. So like many people are like, oh, well, I'm following a program. Yeah. All right. But did you follow the program also on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday? Well, no, I was on a birthday party. Well, does your coach know? Well, I don't have a coach. Well, if you would hire a coach, he would know if you would not lie, or he would see it on your picture, or he would see it on your parameters, because certain athletes, sometimes they think that we're blind. So if I cut 500 or 700 calories in a plan over a period of 2 months and you're still not losing any weight, you know, and all of the other parameters are fine, and I know that you're healthy and your health markers are good, well, then you're lying to me. You know, then you are overeating somewhere, or you are not counting the 5 tablespoons of olive oil that you're using to cook. So the accountability is like the very important part. And that's the job of the athlete, you know. And actually my job is there to be like keep an eye on them.
Okay, understood. And how did you decide to become a coach? When was this turning point for you? And what is your goal as a coach?
I did not really decide myself to become a coach. So I have to go a bit back in time.
Okay.
So I'm a person, like I have the impression that I have the worst genetics on the planet. Like for me to build like 1 kilogram of muscle, like all of the stars need to align. Like I literally need to eat like perfectly.
And also all of the stars need to align for you to get to Dubai.
Yeah.
So we know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, they call me bad luck Pierre, and it's for a reason.
Yeah.
So like literally all of the stars need to align. And that's not just my subjective impression. Like, as you know, I mean, I went through police academy. I'm a police officer also. And so I've trained there for 2 years, trained with many people. And I had like close friends, and we were doing like the same training regimen. Like we were almost sleeping at the same time, eating the same stuff. Like, and they were growing like crazy. And I was just shrinking. I was just injuring myself. I was just being burned out. So I'm just like different. I have like a hard time just making progress. That's the reason today, 15 years later, I know so much, because I had to read about every single detail in this sport, like everything about protein, carbohydrates, fats, training, whatever, you name it, like biomechanics. I had to do it like to the T in order to grow. So at some point, everybody was coming to me in order to get some advice, because everybody was like, hey, Jesse, can you give me a tip how to do that? And I was like, yeah, of course I can give you a tip, and I can give you like 5 other reasons why it's working. And I remember that one day was a friend of mine. She came to me because she wanted to prepare physically for Special Forces selection. And I was like, listen, I'm sorry, but I'm not ready for that, you know. And she was like, no, I know you are. I trust you. And I was like, I'm not sure. She was like, listen, you've coached your brother, you coached your ex-girlfriends, whatever, and the results were pretty amazing. And I mean, I've posted also one of the results on my Instagram, how I coached my ex-girlfriend, and it is amazing. So she was like, I trust you, please coach me. So I did that. I coached that person, and the result was pretty amazing again. Hence, well, the person had great genetics. And then from there, like, she dragged 1, 2 friends. She was like, please coach them as well. And please, you have a gift for that. You have the knowledge for that. Please do it. And I just started, like, literally, I was at home on my couch and I was ashamed, like, I created that Instagram account. I was really not confident enough. I didn't think that I would be good enough to do that. And yeah, the rest is history.
Okay.
And what is my goal was the second part of the question. I have no idea. Like, if I can only make like one person better, like, that's already like a great goal achieved. Like, I don't have a goal to put someone on the Olympia stage. Like, it's not,
Okay.
it's not my goal.
So it's just like to improve others' life.
Yeah, just to improve.
And make them feel better in their own skin, basically.
Exactly, because just like I told you in the very beginning, just like I try to myself to improve every day and to learn more, like I also try to improve every day in the field of fitness, science, biomechanics, and nutrition. So if I learn more every day or every week, whatever, then why not just give it back, like, to people who need it? And it's a passion for me. I like doing it. So yeah, why not?
I really like this because it reminds me of something which I've seen on the internet. And because I'm also asking myself many times, like, what is my goal? And why am I here? So it was on internet that our goal in life is not something that we do, but it's what we actually do and influences others and how we make others feel. So I think this is a good approach.
Yeah, I also believe that sometimes the goal is just going to present itself once you started doing something.
Yes.
Like, sometimes you just start doing something for no specific reason, or you cannot. Maybe there is a reason, but you're not able to identify it.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you're like, oh well, that's my goal. Like, I didn't know that would be my goal, but actually that's my goal now. But for the moment, like, I'm just doing it.
Sometimes it's good to just go with the flow.
Yeah, exactly.
And see where it goes. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So going back to the programs which you are offering to your athletes, I'm sure that there are some steps that need to be followed, and following certain steps means that you will have also a certain routine. And routine means repetitive actions, which can be labeled at some point by our brain, it can be labeled as boring. In your bodybuilding journey, did you ever have a phase when you felt like it's boring?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, it is boring. And I could now try to pull out the ace card with some cool quote or whatever. Like, no, the reality is it is boring and it is repetitive. And yes, sometimes it sucks. So, like, the point is, like, just to find joy in what you're doing by understanding your why, first of all. Like, once you know your why you're doing something, it becomes much more pleasurable, I would say. And then also my job as a coach is to design a routine which is not too boring. So, like, nobody will get a plan when they come to me with chicken, rice, and broccoli 5 times a day. Like, no. Like, if you understand nutrition, like, first of all, you use the word bodybuilding, and I would just like to use like a moment just to define it. Like, there's bodybuilding, like the sport of bodybuilding, or let's call it like the art of bodybuilding. Because bodybuilding is, in my opinion, it's an art, and they use sport in order to make that art. And that's a competition against other people. That's the sport of bodybuilding. And then there is actually like bodybuilding, let's call it like the recreational sport, where you build your body just for fun, you know what I mean? So I'm not a competitive bodybuilder. That's the only thing that I want to precise. I've never been on stage.
Okay.
I never felt like going on stage. That's not my thing. Even though I coach a few bodybuilders who have ambitions to go on stage, just to make it clear
Okay.
for the audience. So people who come to me, I'm not gonna make bodybuilders out of them if they don't wish to.
Okay.
So actually, like big majority of my athletes are like the typical average Joe and average Jane, and they just come and they just want to look sexy.
Okay.
End of the story. And yes, there is some routine that needs to be followed, but because they don't really aspire to be the best on stage and lose the last percent of fat mass, you can juggle with your nutrition kind of bit. You know, like you can make them like nutrition plans, and you tell them like, well, you tell them like you can swap out your chicken for, you know, like for lean beef, for fish.
Okay.
You can swap it out for like shrimp. You can, you know what I mean? Like you can swap your protein sources. Like you can swap your rice with pasta. You can swap your rice with potatoes. You just need to make the conversion because like potatoes has much more volume and is much less dense in carbohydrates. But I explained that in my plan. So like literally, if one day you want to have chicken and rice and the next day you want to have steak and potatoes, like you can have that. You can switch your vegetables. You can switch the fruits in your, like they have lists to switch that stuff. So actually it's a routine, but it's very large.
Okay.
And I mean, if you are not a complete degenerated person, like living from pastry and juices and I don't know what in fast food, like it's not rocket science to adhere to that, to that routine. So it is boring if you think about it from the outside. So if someone says like, do you eat the same stuff every day? Well, theoretically, yes. Like I'm going to eat, I don't know, 500 calories for breakfast made up of these macros, like these proteins, these fats, whatever. But you can twist it and you can make it enjoyable. So yeah, in the bigger picture, it may seem repetitive, but it's not really. And certain days, like for example, when I'm in Dubai and there's like tasty food everywhere, like yes, like then you feel tempted to go and eat left and eat right. But if you adhere to your routine, to your boring routine the rest of the year, like there's no problem if you don't aspire to be like Mr. Olympia or win the regional championship. There's no problem if you just skip on your diet for 1, 2, 3 days.
Okay.
If you don't run through the shop like a degenerated person, like eating a kilogram of pastries, that's okay. But certain things, I'm sorry, but certain things are boring. Like I like I like to say, you know, like when you decide to become a parent, you know, like you love your child and it's fun and it's beautiful, but it's not fun every day. When the child yells in the middle of the night, like, sorry, it's not fun. When you have to change the diaper for fifth time in a day, sorry, it's not fun, you know, but you do it anyway. Why? Because you committed to that. Like you were like, oh, I have as a goal to become a parent. It's going to be beautiful. And majority of the time it's going to be beautiful. But majority of the time it's going to suck as well. When he's going to put the ketchup on the wall. It's just like, God, really? Just part of the game.
Yeah, that's a good parallel. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I mean, the end goal is that you want to raise a beautiful, well-educated child. And the end goal here is that you want to be healthy, good-looking, strong, fit for day-to-day life. And yes, I'm sorry, it's maybe less fun than having 5 margaritas every day during summer.
How do you stay so highly engaged in?
As a coach or myself?
Both.
Both. Well, myself, I will quote Arnold Schwarzenegger. Someone asked him that question, like, I don't know, a few years ago, like, I don't know, 2-3 years ago in an interview. And he said, like, it's like brushing my teeth. Like, I do it every day. You know, like, why should I stop training? Why should I stop
It's like
eating
in your
healthy?
blood already.
Yeah, it's there. Like, I mean, I've seen the benefits. I've reaped the benefits. I'm like, if I go to blood work, I see I'm healthy. If I go on a holiday, like, I see that, like, I have so much muscle mass that I'm able to eat a lot of food and that my body is able to process a lot of carbohydrates. And I'm not just saying this to sound cool. Like I'm checking my blood sugar, I'm checking my cholesterol, like before holidays, after holidays. Like sometimes I have a glucose meter with me to just check my blood sugar. Like I see that because I'm so fit because my body is able to process so many nutrients. Like I've built a foundation which allows me to eat more and to enjoy life more. And it sounds very shallow what I'm going to say now, but there's nothing boring at night by taking off my shirt and just being like, hey man, you look cool, you know?
Okay.
I'm sorry, it sounds shallow, but at the end of the day,
No.
most of the people, they want to look good. It's also really not boring to go in the gym and to just be like in the top 1% of the strongest people. Maybe not in some elite gyms where some powerlifters lift like, I don't know, a mountain, but I'm pretty decent when it comes to lifting. And I'm sorry, that's not boring. And
Okay.
I don't see any reason to stop because it's a hobby which is fun. And also you can chase goals, you know, like if you're benching, I don't know, 150 kilograms for one rep max or 160 kilograms for one rep max, like, well, okay, next year I want to bench 180 kilograms. So you're going to structure all of your training sessions in order to make that happen. You just have a goal to work to. And I mean, training, I mean, I go to the gym 3 to 4 times a week, not 7 days a week, 3 to 4 times a week. I'm very bad at recovery. So I go to gym 3, 4 times a week for 2 hours. Really?
Wow.
Is that too much asked? Like, I mean, come on.
I mean, people would say that you sleep in the gym
No.
like 24/7.
I'm actually like, I'm the biggest believer in recovery ever. Like the
Okay.
amount of time that I have to quote unquote yell with my athletes to tell them like, please, please take your foot off the gas. Go in the gym, stimulate, like create a process, an adaptation process, and then recover from it. Like you are not badass if you go to the gym every day and you train every day. Like this is just not how the body works. It just doesn't work that way. And yeah, I just don't see any reason to stop. And as a coach, I have my ups and I have my downs. I'm not gonna lie. Like there are times
course.
where I'm just like, honestly, I'm just like fuck it, you know. Like you sit there on Sundays and you like look at the check-ins and you're like, the fuck, you know, like what should I invent for people to adhere to their programs? Because I'm very thorough with my explanations. I'm very engaged. Like, I don't know, like there are many written explanations, a lot of videos. And I sent even like the check-in responses, they are written. Sometimes the check-in responses are made through videos, like
Okay.
in order to be more personal, like for the person to really feel like I'm talking to the person, whatever. And if they still don't adhere and they even ask me, they're like, hey, thank you for your work. You're great. But I don't know why. I just prefer going to the barbecue 2 times a week. And I'm like, you know,
Okay.
then all hope is lost. And I'm just, yeah. And then I'm not going to lie. Yeah, that takes a toll on me. But for the moment, I'm still there because how I like to say, a failure is never an option except during a training set.
Yes, correct. And please stay there. We need you.
Yeah, I'm doing my best.
And speaking about routine,
Yeah.
so there is also a nice side for this because having a routine can give also a sense of comfort. And I'm sure that many people like that because it's a nice feeling to have an activity or a place that gives you like a feeling of convenience.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other side of routine, we have always challenges. And as we like to say, the only constant in our life
It's changed.
is change.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to become comfortable by being uncomfortable because during these times is when you create personal growth, is what determines you to become a newer version of yourself and push your boundaries. It can open also new neuronal pathways. So I would like to ask you, how do you deal with discomfort? And what is your opinion on adaptability and discomfort?
Well, that's a great question. Well, you've opened like, I don't know, 100 doors in my
The
head now.
Pandora box.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's like in training. You will not grow if the weight isn't heavy enough, if the tension on the muscle is not heavy enough, and if you don't take your set to failure or close to failure. And you can adapt this, or you can extrapolate that idea and apply it to everything in life. Like, we just grow when there is adversity. Like, I mean, the calluses on my hand, they are not built by me like not working out or not working in the fields or whatever. They're built because my hand have become more resilient. And you have to build these calluses mentally and physically. And adversity it's very difficult for everybody. And each time something goes wrong, like, everybody is like fuck, why me? That sucks here and there.
And
But
probably quitting as well.
And probably quitting as well.
Different situations.
But I will quote Jocko Willink, the Navy SEAL, by saying, like, each time, like, you're in face of adversity, like, you should just be like, good, something went wrong.
Okay.
Good, it gives you an opportunity to grow. It gives you an opportunity to adapt. It gives you an opportunity to go and search inside of yourself. It gives you an opportunity to, I mean, in that moment, you don't see it, like, it just sucks. But also, how would the Navy SEAL say, like, embrace the suck? And it's true, like, embrace the suck. Like, you cannot change anything. Like, if you're in a situation that sucks, you cannot just run away. You cannot just, like, press reboot like a computer. You're in there. So you either have two choices. Either you crumble, either you embrace it. And that does not mean smiling and whatever. Like, I mean, it will be tough, but be aware of the situation, try to handle it as good as possible, and use it to work on yourself. Like, I mean, and that can be like work on your emotional intelligence. Like, no need to make a scene, no need to cry, no need to whine, no need to make a scandal, no need to here and there. Like, like, then just be like, okay, like it sucks, but I'm just gonna clench my fist and go forward. And what lessons can I take out of that situation? And all of a sudden, you, faster than you can see, you will be out of that situation. And the next time a situation will come up from the same magnitude, you will probably not even notice, like, you'll be like, well, yeah, okay, well, I've already dealt with that. It's just like when you bench 100 kilograms. I remember, like, the first time I benched 100 kilograms, I was like, oh, I'm a monster, Now I warm up with 100 kilograms, like for 30 reps if you want to. So it's just like, yeah, well, 100 kilograms, I don't care. And it's the same with adversity in life. And I'm even going that far that to some degree you should go and search for adversity. Like, you should not take the easy road. Like, because the easy road will bring you there where
to a dead end, probably.
To a dead end, and you will end up where everybody ends up, in a comfortable but unhappy place. I mean, how many people are kind of unhappy inside of themselves because they're like, well, they know that they have more inside of themselves, but they don't really know how to express it, and they would like to be more capable, and they know that if shit goes wrong and if shit hits the fan, it's not their phone that's gonna be ringing, like, they are going to be the person who's gonna call someone and just be like, oh, I need your help, and it's fun. Like, there's this quote that says, like, well, certain people, when they're in trouble, they have people they're gonna call. Well, I don't. I am the people. Like, when other people are in trouble, it's my phone that rings. Like, and usually I'm not the person who calls someone. It's not to play it over tough. Like, that when I had some trouble, I even called you. Like.
And I also call you.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like you're like really like a 1%, like I literally, like, I maybe have two people that I'm gonna call if I have trouble.
For me as well, so I can relate to this. Yes.
Yeah, so it's people are gonna call me, and why? Well, because I've been in so much adversity and I've handled it with some scars and with some calluses built on my mind or built on my hands or built on my body, that at some point they're like, well, he's been through that. Like, well, let's go and ask him. And actually, if you look at it like that, at that moment, you're not the bodybuilding coach or the fitness coach. Like, you're I don't like that word, but the life coach for these people. I don't like that word, but you know what I mean. It's just like to make that analogy.
Yes.
So, and why? Because, like, the fitness coach, he has gone through all the trouble that you are going through and you're not able to fix it. And same goes for when you're in trouble in life. Well, you're going to call the person who like, well, he's a tough motherfucker. And why is he tough? Well, because he's been through all that stuff.
And also, I remember now about our friend Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah, hope he's doing well.
Yes, greetings.
Sure.
And one of his quotes, but I don't know it word by word, but the idea is that you cannot change the outside events. The only thing that you can change is how you react to a certain event. And I think this applies also to our discussion here.
Exactly. It even goes deeper. I also couldn't quote it perfectly, but he says like, I don't remember, like, choose not to be hurt and you haven't been hurt. Choose that you haven't been harmed and you haven't been harmed.
I think he has different quotes
yeah,
on
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
part.
And it's
Yes.
very deep. And I remember,
Yes.
like, then when I was deep in trouble, and you remember about what I'm talking here. Like, I was reading these quotes like every single day, and some of them made sense to me, others didn't. And once I saw light at the end of the tunnel, I reread them, and then they made sense, you know. So sometimes, like, it's difficult to make up your mind at that moment. But this is why I say, like, you have to use the opportunity and just be like, good, you know, like, I'm just gonna try to grow out of this. And even if in that shitty situation I wasn't able to apply everything that I would have wanted to apply, well, the next time it's gonna come, I'm gonna be like, all right, I'm ready, you know, like, I've gained 10% of experience, bring it on, you know.
Good approach.
There's no other choice, you know, like.
So I would like to bring into discussion now motivation, which is a word which is so spread nowadays. And in business, in life, in fitness area, everyone is searching for the motivation. And there are so many articles out there and so many people giving advice, quotes, uh, giving pages and pages of on how to find motivation. And then you come exactly from the opposite side, saying and making a powerful statement: motivation is for losers.
Of course.
Why?
I mean, it's very simple. If you're broke and that doesn't motivate you to make money, like, then you have a problem. If you're fat and that doesn't motivate you to lose weight, you have a problem. If you're skinny and you're weak and you're getting bullied and that doesn't motivate you to take up like Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu and go lift some weights, then you're a loser. Like, do you like who are you waiting for? You know, like, do you want someone to come and pet you and babysit you? Like, you don't need motivation. Like you just need to reassess your reality at some point. I don't know. And I have the impression that this motivation stuff is like kind of like it's getting used as an escape, you know, for people who they actually for the wishful thinkers, like they wish that something changes but they don't want something to change. Like someone who wishes something to change is going to be motivated like for a day or for two. Somebody who wants something is going to be disciplined, like, oh, I wish like oh, like do you wish to be a good parent or do you want to be a good parent? Like you chose to have a child, so you want to grow the child, so be disciplined. You don't decide at one day like, oh, I'm not going to change the diaper, I'm not going to feed the baby, like, I'll just leave him there. No, you're disciplined, you're committed to that act. Like, you've decided to have that baby and you're just going to keep doing that, and because it was important enough for you. So if you don't change anything, then it's just not important enough for you. And if you're looking for outside motivation, if you look for for outside motivation and you're not finding the intrinsic motivation, like, then you are a loser. Like, then your own persona is not important enough for you. Like, you and your health are your greatest good. Like, you should take care of that. And if that's not enough of a motivation, you know what I mean? Like, then what will it be? And I have the impression, and I'm not only having the impression, like, I have no proof for that, but you probably understand what I mean. Like, many people, they're going to read like 10 self-help books. Yeah. And instead
And
of
nothing sticks to them.
no, and they will not start doing something. And they will, instead of doing something, they're going to read the 11th book. You know what I mean? And then they're
Yes.
going to buy the course of that motivational speaker. And they're like, yeah, but I'm also doing this. Like, no, shut up, you know, just start doing it. It's just like with business.
Actions are louder than words.
Exactly. You know, at some point you need to get your hands dirty. Like, you can read like 15 books about entrepreneurship. Like, if you don't at some point sit down, create something and make money, well, then you're just going to be like a theoretical entrepreneurship expert, you know. And I have the impression that it's the same with the motivational stuff. Like I have, like when people post motivational stuff in their stories on Instagram, like 9 out of 10 times, I just like, either I unfollow them, either I just like block their stories. Like
Okay,
I don't
so
want to
I
see
need
that
to
shit.
be careful. So I will not post anything about motivation because I get blocked.
Yeah, well, I will block your story. Like I just don't want to
Okay.
see that shit, you know? Like it's like just work in silence. Like you don't need to tell the world that you're so motivated to change something. And I can also tell you by just my own experience that everyone or nearly everyone who came to me and was like, I'm so motivated to change something. Like I can guarantee you that they're gonna fail. They're not gonna finish the 6 months. And God knows, like my coaching is anything but hard. It's anything but hard. It's really just, it's just common sense. You just need to do it. Like I'm really not, even though like I have this military-ish background, like I'm anything but a drill sergeant. And everybody who comes like, I'm so motivated. Like please, like, just delete that word from your language.
Okay.
No, there's no such thing. Like we can use it in order to understand each other, to
Yes.
communicate, but like stop saying like, oh, I'm so motivated. No, you're not.
Okay. So you're allowed to use it only in a certain context.
Yeah,
When your actions are also matching your words.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You know,
Okay.
sure.
True progress approved.
Yeah, I will not block you on that.
And we were talking, while we were talking,
Yeah.
something also caught my attention because you mentioned at some point instant gratification. And I also think about that topic. And I know that we live in this era when everybody expects results very quickly and in an instant. And also, instant gratification is everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think exactly for these reasons, there are now so many coaches offering so many different programs, and over promising their programs. Sometimes their programs might be even unhealthy. So they are profiting of this need for instant gratification of some people in order to make some quick money, even if they do not have knowledge or a base to be a real coach. And if we put this in a context, how do you deal with that? So on one side, you have the demand for quick solutions, which are not sustainable long term. And on the other side, you have your so-called competition, which offers some programs which on paper might sound amazing, in reality, not so. How you deal with this?
It's a question of morals. Like,
Okay.
I mean, I tell people very often, like, I don't want to put my signature under a program which I cannot back up with something. And like I told you, like when I have people on a video call, like I select them out. Like that's it's a very bad business move actually, but I select them out. So like there are people who are like, oh yeah, I would like to work with you, and I'm like, well, I wouldn't want to work with you, you know. And ding, that's money lost. But no, well, also they say like bad clients, they're energy vampires. On the other hand, like I mean, these coaches, they will always be people in the need of instant gratifications, always, and there will always be people who are gonna take advantage of that. And you just have to that's just the world, you know, like you cannot erase that, you cannot change people, and like you just don't have to fall in the trap to make a quick buck and lose your morals. Like I want to be able to look at myself in the mirror, and yes, some people are going to argue like, yeah, and your moral, they're not going to pay your bills at the end of the month. And I'm like, yeah, great, but I don't know. I just don't feel good if I would look at myself in the mirror and just be like, well, great, I sold that asshole a program and I know it's not going to work, but at least I have the money. No, we are 8 billion on this planet. I mean, we're almost 8 billion now.
Yes.
I think so.
Yes.
I mean, there are 8 billion people. I'll find some good
A few
people to
ones.
coach.
Yes.
And there will be like, there's a place for scammers. And there are a lot of people who there are a lot of people who want quick results, who are motivated, the wishful thinkers, and they deserve to get scammed. So like there are places for scammers, and there are people who deserve to be scammed, and it's just not gonna be me, you know.
Okay. I would like to know, since you are an online coach, so you are based in Luxembourg
Yeah.
mainly. But what about people who would like to approach you from other countries?
Well, there is like a great thing that exists since, I don't know, 30 or 40 years. It's called the internet.
Oh,
And
okay.
they can send me a DM on Instagram,
Okay.
like True Progress Coaching. I don't know. There's an underscore somewhere. Like just be a bit clever.
yes,
You'll
yes.
find it. And maybe you would link me under the video so people can
Yes,
find
yes,
me.
we will link for sure.
That's nice.
Okay, so basically you work not only with people from Luxembourg, but some people living in other countries and wishing to have a change.
Yeah.
They can contact you and you could work together and make true progress together.
Exactly.
Correct?
I'm lucky enough
Okay.
to be polyglot. I speak like French, I speak German, I speak Luxembourgish, and I speak English.
And some Romanian.
And some Romanian.
I know that.
Yeah, hablo español un poquito.
Ay, ay, ay,
So, but
papito.
I'll not coach you in Spanish. I'm sorry, but yeah. So I'm adaptable. My plans are in English. Well, the explanation videos are most in Luxembourgish because most of my athletes are from Luxembourg.
But you can
I will
adapt.
take care. I will
yeah.
take care of your English problem or your Irish problem if you want to. It's no problem.
Okay, so basically there are no boundaries
Not
to
really.
achieve true progress.
Yes, there is one. Like you should be disciplined and willing to.
Okay,
willing to put in
of
the
course, of course. I was just asking about the territorial boundaries. Yes.
I know.
Okay, yes. Good.
Great.
It's great to know. As a conclusion, I would like to ask you, what fitness advice would you give to your younger self?
Train your arms directly. Don't believe people that say that.
Don't skip legs day.
I never skipped leg day. I've been injured enough to know that I never skipped them.
Okay.
Like, yeah, train your arms directly. Like, don't believe in the people that tell you that pressing movements and pulling movements are going to train them enough. That's not true. Don't listen to people that you like. Don't take advice from people that you don't want to, that didn't achieve something that you would like to achieve as well. Always question what someone tells you. And do what works for you. And why am I saying this? Because like all of these years, I remember like it's just one thing that pops up in my mind. Like I never ate over 600 grams of carbs a day, never. Because someone told me one day that over 600 grams of carbs, you'll become a diabetic, you know? And there are very easy and cheap methods to check how, like, I mean, you do like an HbA1c test, you do a HOMA test, like these are like your long-term blood sugar and your fasting insulin markers. You can do that. It's not expensive. You can check where you're at, you know, you can manage that. And when I started increasing my calories and eating way more carbs, like 800 grams, 900 grams, 1,000 grams, like I'm 188, I'm 120 kilograms. That's when I really started like growing and making progress. So like just like do what works for you. Don't take advice just from random idiots. And honestly speaking, and that sounds a bit like I'm shameless plug, but take a coach, you know? Like, because I've wasted so many years, I've wasted so many gains over the years trying to figure out everything by myself, which of course helped me to become the coach that I am today. So I did not waste time. I just wasted some gains and I swapped it for some knowledge. But honestly speaking, I would trade some knowledge today for a few more gains because I have enough knowledge. Like I'm not able to apply it. I've never been able to apply all of my knowledge to anybody. Like there's more than enough.
Okay. Good. Great.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for
joining
having
me
me
today.
Thank you for having me. And then
And yes,
see you next time.
see you.